it's me, Erin. Thanks for joining us on the More Love podcast. Do not tell Rebecca, but this podcast is about empathy. She likes people to think she's dead inside, but the truth is she's a big-time feeler who has truly helped me uncover that empathy is my superpower. Oh, here she comes.
Hey, bestie.
Hi, love.
What are you doing?
Oh, just getting ready to host a podcast.
A podcast? About what?
Life. Our life as best friends, who are more like sisters.
Yay! I love us, and I can't wait to share our stories with the world.
Especially the ones that involve us pushing each other, right? To be our most authentic selves.
Oh, man. Okay.
I can't wait to tell you about this trip I just took.
Well, it started
with me calling you and being in a complete panic and you telling me I can't talk to you right now because I'm playing board games with my family. Yeah. That is how it started.
Well, I had
I'm sorry. Did it start before that for you?
No, I had power. I didn't have the internets.
I can't wait to insert that part of the story after how much had already happened to me, because you didn't know any of those things, because you didn't give me any time to tell you, because you told me, you said, hurry up, my dice roll is next, basically.
We were playing
and I'm
life.
like, if you had any clue what has just happened to me, you would have been like, guys, you take my turn, guys. It's busy.
We were playing the new version of life that I have a lot of feelings about.
Oh.
A lot of feelings.
Why?
And I was expressing them very...
You mad that women get to actually make money in this version?
No, there are no women and men.
Oh.
There are no women and men. It's rando colors, and the jobs are asinine, and it's the stupidest version I have ever seen. And
isn't there a payday version, a woman's payday, or a woman's version of life or something? Isn't there one of those games? We should play that.
I can't.
That's interesting.
They make you pay $50,000 for... How did it go? I think it was, if you want to get married, you got to pay $50,000. And if you want to have a kid, you got to pay $50,000.
Wow.
So everybody... equal across the board. I'm like, this isn't how life works.
It's pretty close. Actually.
No, it is not. It's
$50,000. But if you don't want to get married and you don't want to have a kid, then you get to keep that money?
You do, but then you get screwed at the end of your life, because the more quote unquote pegs, because remember, we're gender neutral now, the more pegs you have in your car, the more money you get in your retirement.
The more pigs you have in your car?
Pegs, like the representation.
I was like,
oh my God, this is the farm version of life?
Sponsored by the Pork Association?
Hot bellies or what?
The pegs. Is yours very crackly?
No.
Mine's very crackly.
Oh.
But
maybe it's because you keep moving and I can't keep you in frame.
Yeah, right.
That's what it is.
The frame has nothing to do with the quality of the...
She's in like the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Now she's like basically not
cannot
there.
Keep her.
Where do you want me to go? This way. Okay. So when you get to the end, because Sawyer kept saying, because she plays this all the time, right? Me and Taylor never play this. And she's like, I'm telling you right now, you're going to want to pay that $50,000. I'm like, why? I need to keep that shit in my
savings account.
And we played it wrong, because apparently when you pass payday, you're supposed to get paid. I was like, no, you only get paid when you land on that shit. So good luck getting through life. We're at the end, and none of us have any freaking money. Then I realized, that's why I can't buy a house. Because at one point I was supposed to buy a house. I'm like, I don't have any money because I'm not getting a house.
You're playing like your own real life version. You're like, I only get paid if I do the work. Right. You know, the rest of us get paid bi-weekly.
I'm not getting no kid. I'm not paying no $50,000 for a kid. If that shit don't come naturally. So anyway, I was in the middle of a rant when you called.
Okay, I see. Well, that'll be really good to know when I position this within the rest of the story, because otherwise it sounds like you're just the most insensitive human being in the entire planet.
Okay, do it.
So
lay it on me.
I end up waking up, this was on Wednesday morning, and my whole eye looks like I got in a fight with Mike Tyson. It looks like someone has punched me square in the right eye. It is not okay. To the point where Mark is like, what happened?
Where were you last night?
I don't understand.
When'd you get in?
What went on there, right? And I'm like, it's fine. I think it's just a sty in my eye.
What is that? An infection?
A sty is... some reading that I've done on this. Essentially, you have oil glands throughout all of your eyelids. And a sty is essentially when one of those oil glands gets...
Can you talk in code?
gets filled up, like a zit would get filled up.
Okay, all right. Enough of the education. Got it. Got it. It's gross.
Then it doesn't come out, so then it looks like a little whitehead.
Ew.
But the problem is it's on your eyelid.
Ew.
And then, it hurts.
Ew. Oh, it's painful too?
It's very painful.
I don't like talking about it.
It's very painful.
Okay.
So I decide it's fine. I'm just going to deal with it. It'll go down eventually. You're supposed to use a warm
like a
compress. Someone recommended castor oil. Someone recommended
in your eye?
it would have been better than the alternative I'm about to tell you about. And then someone recommended like a chamomile tea bag, right? So
they recommended you tea?
They recommended a tea bag
my mouth shut.
They recommended a tea bag my eye. Mark was a fan of that option.
Hold on. I bet he was.
Mark was like, I'll do it.
That's a good
How
one.
about?
I picked that option.
You're such children.
Take
You
one
were
for the team.
both freaking 15 years old.
I'm 12. Thank you.
So are we. Please, you didn't think
bring me into this. I don't think these things. I'm neurodivergent. My level of sophistication is higher.
You are
bring
full
me
of shit.
down.
If anybody heard
Can
the
you
jokes
stop
you tell,
taking me off?
If anybody heard the jokes you tell,
you-
the reason I piss my
I
pants in the fucking videos is because of shit you say.
That's just
so
because
we're
I'm
clear.
witty and funny. It's not because it's sixth grade humor.
Yes,
You
it
need
is.
to remember
Yes,
that
it
I'm
is.
a logical storyteller,
Okay,
and
go
if
ahead.
I get thrown off, this whole story is going to be the whole podcast.
Okay.
I got to focus.
Which is sort of my plan. But, okay.
So my mom convinces me that I need to go to urgent care because I'm going to be out of town for 5 days. And in the event it gets worse, now
insurance doesn't cover
my
it.
insurance doesn't cover anything out of New York. And I now have to find an urgent care or whatever in Virginia or in Maryland, whichever state I'm in at the time.
Right. No good. No
So
bueno.
I drive myself to urgent care.
After you got some Wendy's.
Shut up about the Wendy's.
It was at 2 p.m.
Whatever.
Pretty sure it was 2 p.m.
What?
I need to pack me some fries.
I didn't have lunch. They got saucy.
That's not true.
They got saucy nugs
That's not
now.
true.
They got saucy nugs, and I got saucy nugs. Give me a really bad heartburn though. Whatever. Why'd you have to tell people I went to Wendy's?
'Cause I know it's
totally
2
missed
p.m.
that part. You happened to call and I'm like, stop talking to me. I'm going through the drive-thru. Whatever.
I should have known. I should have waited 5 minutes.
I know. I'm like, I'm on my way to urgent care, but I had to stop at Wendy's. I had to stop Wendy's because my blood sugar's getting low. I got it.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I don't need that.
More or less
Frickin-
it's 2 p.m.
Have you had one of those spicy nugs? Those saucy
No,
nugs?
I don't eat fast food.
Oh, well, you're missing out because they're delicious. Don't get the garlic ones, though. Massive heartburn. So anyway, might have made a quick pit stop at Wendy's. Who cares? And then I went on to urgent care. And I sat in urgent care, no joke, 1 hour and 45 minutes. They're about to call my name. I swear to God, I am the next person up. And I'm at the wire here. It is 3:05. I have to walk out of there at like 3:15.
Why, 'cause you have a flight?
Because I got to catch a flight.
Oh.
My flight leaves at 5:20.
Okay.
And it's
Did you tell them?
3:15, and I'm in Victor.
Did you
right?
tell them?
No. It was just taking a little longer than I expected. Doesn't this man come in? He's this grandfather. His grandson brought him in. He has a ice pack on his head. And I hear him say, I just ran into a forklift and I'm bleeding like a sieve. And I think I knocked myself out because I went unconscious for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm thinking the urgent care is not where you go.
Why
But
are we at urgent
I
care
know.
in Victor?
I would have said, I'm calling the ambulance. We got other people in line.
But we weren't going to do that because you want to know what?
They brought him in.
He brought him right back.
Yep.
So then I'm there. It's 3:15, and I say to the woman, I've been here for an hour and 45 minutes, and I understand the urgency associated with having to bring that man back, but I now need to leave, and you need to take me off the list because now I need to go catch a plane with a double sty in my eye and no antibiotic ointment.
And what did she say?
All right, I'll remove you from the list.
Stop it.
You won't get charged. You're damn straight I won't get charged.
Well, that's after you have to go to the second urgent care because the first one didn't take your insurance.
That's right. This is my second urgent care. I go to the first urgent care and I say I have Blue Cross Blue Shield. And she's like, we don't accept that.
Because it's well now.
And then I looked behind me and was like, I'm sorry. What do you mean?
They take everything but
I don't
that.
think anyone doesn't accept Blue Cross Blue Shield. She's like, you can stay here, but it's going to cost you $165.
They probably would have brought you right in.
Just to be seen. Yeah, it would have been done by then.
Right.
Should have paid it at that point.
I know.
So whatever. I say to myself, it's fine. I've got this massive sty in my eye. I barely see out of my eye because I look like I got bit by mosquitoes. But I'll just go get on the plane, right? So I'm driving to the airport and Renee calls and says, hold up. Flight's canceled.
Oh, yeah. Was this the day?
I said... Nope, this was not the day that the whole world went down.
This was the day I was on
different day.
This was the day, though, I was playing wife. I was playing life because we had no cell data and we had no internet.
Correct.
Okay. I got it.
So she says the flight is canceled.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, okay, what does that mean? So she's there at the airport negotiating with these people how we both need to go, but we need to go together. So we need the 2 seats. If we don't do 2 seats, then Erin needs to go because she has a keynote that she needs to give. And, I'll hold back, but we need to meet up at some point because we're going to this conference, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, I'll drive to the airport anyway, because even if our next flight out isn't until 8 p.m., you're not going to sit there from 3:30 to 8 p.m. by yourself. So I'll end up coming there
And where are you going, Maryland?
At this point, we were supposed to be flying into some place in Virginia. Dulles. Must have been.
Okay.
Something.
That's Washington.
DC, yeah.
DC. So it must have been.
But it's right. It's all there.
Yeah, it was all in that area. So then she finds out that our flight is going to leave at 7:40 instead of 5:20. So she's like, the good news is it's only 3:15. We have enough time to go to the next urgent care. And I said, fine. So I pick her up. She technically picks me up. Mark drops me off. She picks me up. We get in the car. We go to the other urgent care. We end up going to the one over in Greece. Sit in that urgent care.
Is that the one that you took me to for my...
Oh, no. This is that one was right up the road. That's the one I thought we were going to, but this was a different one. Okay. This is over by where Tim Hortons and the Cold Stone Creamery
are. Over there. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
By Hobby Lobby.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
So...
Not the ghetto.
Oh, my God. I'll pick Brighton any day over Greece. So... We walk in. I wait a half an hour. She says, do you want me to come back with you? I said, yeah, sure. It doesn't matter to me. We go back. The woman walks in. I say, I hate to tell you that I'm on a quick turnaround here, but I do need to catch a plane. So we need to walk out of here by 5:30. And it's now like, I don't know, 4:45, maybe somewhere around there. She says, not a problem, does the normal vitals, whatever, sends back the NP. The NP comes in, looks at my eye. And she is staring at it and she's looking at it weird. And she's looking at this part, like not my eye, but like this inside part of my nose.
Yeah.
And she's touching it. She's touching this inside part of my nose.
You have a sinus infection?
She says, have you had the chicken pox?
Stop it. You have shingles?
I said, yeah.
Stop it.
She says, I'm afraid this isn't a sty in your eye. I'm afraid that you have shingles in your eye. Renee starts cracking up.
It's not funny.
Because she's so uncomfortable.
Oh my God, that's not funny. You got to go to freaking...
I look at this woman and say, what are you talking about?
Yeah, same reaction I had when they told me I had shingles.
In my eye.
Uh-huh.
She said, I'm afraid that it's shingles in your eye. Does this hurt? She touches it again. And I said, it's not that it hurts. I feel you touching it and it's a bit uncomfortable because there's these little bumps right there, right?
Stop it.
She says, I need to put you on an antiviral and you need to take this antiviral immediately because if you don't get this and take care of this in time, you're going to go blind.
Yep.
She says the words, you're going to go blind.
Yep. I've been here. I know.
I say,
welcome to the
ma'am, This is the craziest thing I've ever heard. I'm not going to take that antiviral. She says, why not? And I said, well, for starters, I have a friend who's taken this antiviral and it all but took her insides out. Okay? And I didn't tell them that medication doesn't work on you and you got to take 8 times the dose. So if this antiviral works on you, and you know for me
I know
that I take half of a kid's Dramamine and I'm like passed out on a plane.
Right.
This antiviral, before I'm about to get in front of 800 people, 400 virtual, 400 in person to give a keynote where I'm not already nervous enough. You think I'm going to take an antiviral and stand up in front of these people? I'm going to shit my pants. Legit shit my knickers in
Not just
front
that,
of
it doesn't
these
make you feel
people.
good.
Yeah, and I'm going to be vomiting.
In a lot
I'm
of
going to be whatever.
a lot of ways, yeah.
I say, this is not shingles.
Oh,
In my eye.
You're convincing the LP
This is
that's not it.
not shingles in my eye.
Okay.
And I said, you want to know what it is? She's looking at me like I'm just absolutely nuts. I said, I got a new primer. I got a new primer from my favorite makeup company. Oh, I'm sorry, Exhibit A. I got a new primer that I love very much. It is green. It's a green primer so that it gets rid of the redness, my rosacea,
Okay.
right? And it is a great primer. However, it's a little more oily than what I'm used to.
Okay.
And I got this primer. I've been using this primer, putting it all over because I really like it. That's the only thing I've changed about my skincare routine. I've been reading on the Google that styes come about when you basically get clogged oil ducts or glands. This is a bit more oily than my normal primer. I guarantee you what's happening is that I've used this primer. It's clogged some of my oil ducts, created the sty, created these little bumps that look like little mini whiteheads right here.
Are you makeup free at the doctor, or you still have makeup on?
Makeup free.
Okay.
And makeup free at
so
the
she
doctor.
can see. She can see all.
Yep.
Like it's pure.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And I say, that's what I think is going on here. And what would you do if this was genuinely a sty? She said, I would give you an antibacterial ointment and you could use that. You could try that. And I said, I'm going to be really honest with you. You're welcome to fill that antiviral for me. Because if it starts to get worse or if it starts to continue to spread,
Which
or
it would,
if I'm like,
if
oh
it
boy,
was shingles.
this is not great. Or it starts to actually hurt me. You know, the bottom part of my eyelid hurts because it's puffy, because it feels like a pimple, right? So I said, that doesn't feel good. But if that is the case, I will absolutely take the antiviral. I'm not interested in going blind in my right eye or having shingles in this really weird place. But how many people in the world does shingles attack at your eye
You'd be
with
surprised.
no other, symptoms wherever? She cites a relatively low number. And then I'm just like putting all of this together and being like, this just doesn't make any sense.
Now, if you weren't using that, different story.
I think if I could not identify anything that I changed about my routine, I might be a little more nervous at this point. She then takes this thing that looks like a Q-tip, but it's like a little more feathery. And she takes it and she starts rubbing it across the sty, right? She then goes to send that out, says she's going to send it to the lab.
What's that going to do? Determine if it's
Determine if it's shingles.
Shingles?
Because she's going to take this and get this little, like, I don't know, whatever from it to determine if the whatever's inside of it is whatever type of virus or some type of whatever. It has a very long name. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
She then tells me that she doesn't think that that's what I should do. She thinks I should take the antiviral. And of course she does, because she thinks this is shingles. I appreciate that. And I say, great, thank you very much. Please make sure that antibiotic ointment is in the bag, because I'm going to use that first.
And frankly, that wouldn't hurt you.
No.
the antibiotic ointment. It would just do nothing if it wasn't a infection.
And then the infection would continue to grow. Now, you know that the worry about shingles is you need to catch it relatively early on because its growth rate is more than what you're able to visually state.
Right. But a day or two would be probably fine.
So I'm like, I'm going to try this first.
Yeah.
And she ends up dyeing my eye pink, looking at it under a black light, doesn't see anything there. She ends up taking the culture, which technically the culture, I don't know how relevant that's going to be because you really need to get some of the stuff. And so you got to open it, right? And she's not going to do that. I'm not going to let her do that. That's disgusting. So she goes, she fills my prescriptions. We're basically peeling into Wegmans to go on Gates Chili to go get the prescriptions, to then head over to park the car, to then get shuttled over, right, just to make our thing.
Your flight. Yeah.
So here I am. I've been told I'm going to go blind. I think I have shingles in my eye. I'm convinced it's not. I'm convinced I just need this antibiotic. We go there to the airport. We're now waiting for the plane to leave, and we find out that it's now been delayed. Now it's been delayed until 8:15 or 8:20, and we have 12 minutes once the flight lands in Charlotte to get from that plane to the other plane. 12 minutes.
That's not good.
I then say,
wait a minute,
to Renee,
you have to go to Charlotte then to go back to, I can't.
Correct.
Because this was the redirected flight or whatever.
Because this is the redirect because the first one got canceled.
You're better off going into Baltimore and driving.
I say, I don't think it's a good idea we get on this flight.
You'll be stuck there.
So what happens if we get on this flight? What are the alternatives? So Renee goes up, she checks out. There is no alternative flight out of there. The next flight leaves at whatever time the following morning. I wouldn't get until 3.
When's your keynote?
1.
Yeah.
I said, we can't take that risk because now we're in Charlotte instead of in Rochester.
Right.
And she looks at me and she's like, we have to drive. I said, I know. I don't want that to be the reality because at this moment, it's 6:45, 7 something at night. But we're going to have to drive. It's a 6-hour drive.
Oh, that's not terrible. Okay. All right.
So we go downstairs to go get a rental car. Out of the 7 rental car places, 6 of them are closed. They've either rented all of their cars or the rentals in the community, so not the ones in the airport, closed at 6:30.
And you don't want to take Renee's car?
We didn't want to have to take Renee's car because we didn't know if we were going to be reimbursed. Renee's car also just got out of the shop 2 weeks ago because she had hit a deer.
Okay, yeah. It's probably not a good idea.
There's 24 people in the Hertz line.
Because they're all in the same sitch.
So I now know
there are not going to be no cars.
There's no way, even if we wait another hour and a half in this line, there aren't 24 cars. And they didn't just start giving cars out with the first person that ended up in this line. There's no way. It's at this moment that I call you. Okay, this is where this story of you enters. So this is what I've been through. I have shingles in my eye. I've been at 2 urgent cares. Some guy hit himself with a forklift and knocked himself out. My flight's been canceled. My flight's been delayed. I now have to drive to Virginia 6 hours. It's 7 something at night. I've not eaten anything except for, I don't know, like a small French fry at this point today. And I can't get a rental car. None of the places are open. Amtrak is not a possibility. Driving to Buffalo to get a car out of that airport, we tried multiple places, not available. Driving to Syracuse, which still would have been out of the way, still not possible. And I think it's okay. I'm going to call Rebecca and I'm going to find out what's the name of that car place.
I gave it to you.
Bring.
I almost didn't answer it.
You say,
because I'm busy.
Hey, what? What? We don't have any power over here. I'm in the middle. We're playing board games as a family. What do you need? This is what you say to me. And I go, yeah, okay, great. All I need to know is what's the name of that car place where you can rent other people's car like Airbnb. You're like, Turo. I said, okay, great. And then you're like, hey, hang on, guys. I'll be right there. Right? Like, this is what's happening in your land. And then in my land, I am a freaking disaster mess. You're like, it's Turo. I'm like, great. Thank you. Thanks. I'm all set. Thank you. I end up hanging up the phone with you. I'm like, I can't. They're freaking playing Candyland over there. And this is so important for family time. And my life over here, I'm about to be blind in one eye. and I still have to drive. And it's fine. But, you know.
Yeah, because you have to drive.
I do, because I get sick. So then we get back in the car to go back to the place to go pick up our own car, right? The shuttle. The guy goes, oh, where are you guys coming in from? I'm like, the airport. He's looking at me. I said, we didn't go anywhere. We got dropped off here. We sat here like a bunch of idiots. And now it's going to be 8:30 at night when we're finally going to leave to go out to this conference. It was 8:30 at night that we finally get on the road. I say, I don't want fast food. I want something that actually tastes somewhat decent for dinner. That didn't end up working out. I ended up having a medium fry from McDonald's, where I ended up having a 4-piece chicken nugget. And then we stopped at a gas station and both got Chex Mix, an iced tea, and a hot chocolate. That was dinner. Got in at 4:15 in the morning. The last 2 hours of the trip, we are listening to podcasts on volume 35.
To stay awake?
Because we cannot stay awake. I drove the first 4 hours. She drove the last 2 hours. I'm talking to her about random shit that no one cares about because we're both just trying to stay awake. I think we should have put the windows down. Nope. That wasn't an option either. So we ended up having to take Renee's van.
Oh, you did?
And then they were like, we'll reimburse you for mileage, but their mileage rate out of Virginia or DC is 11 cents less than what it is out of New York. So you get some measly ass check at the end of the day. We're driving down there in the van, and I'm like, do you smell that? It smells like burnt gingerbread cookies. She's like, yeah, just check the fuel gauge or the heat gauge, make sure it's. I'm like, I swear to God, if this happens, I'm pulling over on the side of the road, stick my thumb out. Yep. I'm all done.
Yep.
Finally show up 4:15 in the morning, sleep until I didn't even bring my stuff in. I didn't even brush my teeth. I said, I'm going in there and I'm laying down and no one is to talk to me. I just fell right asleep, woke up at 9 o'clock in the morning and then went and did the keynote. I think we had to be there for sound check between 11 and 11:30 in the morning.
I would have been like, sorry, can't make it. Can't make it. Busy.
But here's the problem. We were already going to the conference after that.
Right.
We had already had a car booked. We canceled the car booking that we had because I got asked at the last minute to do this keynote. So now we no longer had that car that we could have taken. We would have been in the same situation. We just would have been leaving, 1 day later because that they had already given our car away because of how many people you saw on the Hertz line. So no matter what, we would have been driving anyway had it been our original plan.
No, you would have taken a different flight just to a different airport.
But then we would have had to pay for that because Karasoff was paying for it because I was presenting at their keynote. If I wasn't presenting at their keynote, then I got to pay for that. The rental car was $200,
Yeah.
So we were driving either way. It was unreal. So we go to this conference, have a great time. It was a Women in Government IT conference, phenomenal conference. Karasoff did a beautiful job with this conference. And while I'm there, at the very end of the night, I go to this table. Well, so first of all, this is the story of how you now own this primer, and I hope you really enjoy it, and I hope it doesn't give you any
not a chance in hell. You can throw that right over there in the garbage. Give it to Scott.
Yeah, Scott, we got you some primer. Hope it works for you, but I'm all done on my end.
Finish that story. So you stopped using that. You used the
immediately put the antibacterial
and felt better
in my eye that moment that I got it, and then right as soon as we got to the hotel, put it in my eye again. Woke up at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Gone.
100% gone.
Great.
Not an issue whatsoever. Not shingles in my eye.
Okay.
Antiviral, I have that on hand when your body decides to go into chaos because that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'll just keep that for you, because that shit doesn't happen to me. I'm all set. But I got you that.
Throw that primer right in the garbage.
So speaking of your health issues, I'm now at this conference. I've given the keynote. It's at the end. It's a little wine and dine at the end, and they have all these tables.
Great.
Where you go and talk to all these people.
Okay. What'd you find?
On this random table about women and leadership and like they want these people to come in and whatever. There's this guy there who's standing next to these books.
Okay.
And one book makes perfect sense on this table. Okay. And it's something about sales trajectory for women.
But it's a man behind the table.
Yes.
Ironic.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But it's isn't it ironic? Don't you think?
Okay.
He's teaching women how to sell.
Okay.
And he's got this book.
Okay.
And he says to me, "Would you like me to sign that for you? I'm the author."
What's his name?
Fred Diamond.
Okay, don't know him. I thought you were going to say it was somebody I knew.
No.
Okay.
So I'm like, yeah. Sure. Okay. Yeah, you want to sign my sales book? Yeah, okay. I'm just thinking it's a free book, and that's exciting to me.
Right.
But
and it might be worth reading.
Right there on the sales table next to the sales book, next to all of these different pamphlets, is this other book.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Called Love, Hope, Lyme. What family members?
Is he the writer? He's the author of that too?
Stop it right now. What family members, partners, and friends who love a chronic Lyme survivor need to know?
Oh, did you immediately read it and highlight everything?
What I did was I said,
you got him to sign it? Can you sign this one?
Could you please sign this for Rebecca? So I had him
personally sign it for me.
I had him sign this
Thank
book
you.
for you. It says, Rebecca, have hope. Fred Diamond. Okay. So listen to me.
Okay.
I'm at this table with this man, and I say, could you tell me about this book? I'd love to know a little bit more about this. I said, my best friend got bit by a tick, and she's got Lyme, and her whole system's wonka donkey since then. Absolute wonka donkey. He says, really?
Tell me more.
He says,
I can't wait.
I am now a leading expert in Lyme.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Did he wear a green suit?
Okay.
Was he wearing a green suit?
Say more, please. Say more. I'm a leading expert in Lyme, he says. And this all came about from my journey with my now ex-wife. She was bitten by a tick.
I can't look at you.
And she says, basically, her entire life completely changed. I said, that's my friend. That's what happened to my friend. And so he starts saying, I've now dove into the life of Lyme. Oh. And I did all of these thorough research studies. This is what he says. You know how I feel about this.
Yeah.
You know how I feel about people who say that they're doing research studies. Show me your IRB.
Right.
Show me your IRB subject board approval.
Right. You also want to see the questionnaires. You want to see the lipness. You want to see.
Absolutely. We've now all of a sudden non-medical provider jumped into some medical trials, done some research. What you did, sir, was a lit review.
I'm focused on the X part of the wife.
Oh, yeah, I'll get there.
Okay.
Yeah. Just so we're clear, sir, you did a lit review. You found some research articles, and you read it, and then you summarized it, and you came to your own hypothesis. That is not research. Don't get me on this soapbox, because this shit drives me nuts. Do not tell me you're doing research. It's a lit review. You know who else does lit review? 7th graders. Okay, sir?
It's called a book report.
It's a freaking book report. I'm happy that you did this. I'm really happy for you. Congratulations about your book report. Anyway, tell me again about your wife. Ex-wife.
Right.
So he dove deep into this, and basically he found out that the ticks impact multiple different areas of your central nervous system, but it's when the tick fluid or whatever happened to the tick breaks the blood-brain barrier that you start to go, woohoo, wackadoo. And I said, we're there, sir.
Well, I think, remember they didn't find the tick? So I've decided it buried itself so far down in.
It's still in there.
It's just alive.
You know where it is?
Where?
It's in your right arm. gas in your right arm where you burn like a burning ring of fire.
Yeah, it's activated every time I get sick.
That's right.
That's that. My tick bite was near my badge.
That's right. I know that. Then you had lip burn. Remember? You had the lip burn.
Jesus.
Scott, hang with us here, okay? This is important. We're doing medical shit here.
I'm going to step out for a smoke. I don't even smoke, but I'm going to step out for a smoke.
We're doing some medical shit here on the More Love podcast. So I'm in it with this man. I'm sitting here right here. I'm like, I need you to sign this for her. She's on the outs, sir. I need you to sign this. So he's playing real coy with me.
I bet.
He's playing real coy, you know, like he is freaking, you know, the medical guru when it comes to Lyme. So he's telling me about his book report and all of the stuff that he has done. And he's telling me that basically his wife all but turned to mush as a result of this Lyme, and that it really screwed with her brain. That's his wife right there. That was her.
That's why she's ex.
That was her, because there wasn't much left of her.
Yeah.
And that it basically got into her brain because it took over the blood-brain barrier, went past it. Apparently it's here because he kept talking about it here. And so
once it goes past
went
the neck.
here.
Okay.
And then it just
we're real close.
went, I know. I know. So he's telling me about these things and how basically she is certifiable. He starts talking about all her mental health problems. I'm like, yup. He starts talking to me about how she had mood changes. He starts telling me how basically she wasn't the same person that she was even 3 years before. Yes, sir. Say it louder. What else? This is me standing next to medication. And I said, "Is there a cure?" No. There's things that can stop the progression. Slow it. But it's
like
headed.
Bee stings.
It's headed.
The bee stings.
So what is he saying to me? I want to really take a moment and thank you for being
her friend,
such a great friend to her.
Because he couldn't take it. He had to get the divorce.
You ex your wife. I'm on my way to exing her as my best friend, but I haven't gotten there yet. A couple more to get through the blood-brain barrier, and then I'm like, this shit's nuts. Out. Get out of here.
Lyme is no joke, man.
So he thanks me. He thanks me for picking up the book.
Yep.
He thanks me. I'm going to read about it.
Okay.
Being gluten-free before it was cool. That's one of the chapters. Becoming your own healthcare advocate. Well, you don't do that. I do. I go in with the freaking poster board. Covering family activities.
I got that down.
Stories of Lyme survivors and how you can make a difference.
Oh, okay.
The challenges of understanding Lyme's disease. Well, he knows because he did the report on it. Early stage Lyme.
That is his report. That's the chapter.
This is.
Yeah.
Oh, I just read, here's just a little poem in here that I scanned to. I miss me, the old me, the smiling me, the laughing me.
I wrote that.
The gone me. We're going to hell. We are absolutely going to hell. Listen to me as I read this to you.
Okay.
Early stage Lyme disease. Chills, fatigue, fever, headache, joint pain and swelling, muscle pain, rash, swelling of the lymph nodes.
Check. I don't know if I had swelling of the lymph nodes. Did it say falling asleep, like epilepsy?
Late stage Lyme. Late stage Lyme disease symptoms may appear days to months after the initial tick bite and may include, but are not limited to, additional rashes in new places on the body.
No.
Arthritis or joint pain and swelling, especially of large joints, such as the knees.
Only my knees and my hips and my ankles, only when I'm getting sick.
Correct. Dizziness and shortness of breath.
No.
Stop it right now.
I don't have shortness of breath.
Yes, you do. You couldn't even walk to the final soccer field the other day.
Oh, well, that's not because of Lyme disease.
Well, that's what you think. Facial palsy.
No.
Heart palpitations, inflammation of the brain or spinal cord, intermittent tendon, muscle, joint, nerve, and bone pain, headache, stiffness, anxiety, paranoia.
Yes.
Fibromyalgia, hallucinations.
No, we're not there yet.
So anyway, I got this book for you.
Okay.
I got a lot of... Oh, there's a disclaimer. What's that? The Lyme disease survivors around the globe, that's who it's dedicated to. Not to your ex-wife.
Oh.
How does she feel about that? She's a freaking...
Hold on, I have her on the line.
She's not a survivor. she hasn't survived it.
She's still living.
She's still
alone.
Yeah.
Alone. Because he's like, you know what? Congratulations on sticking with your best friend. The rest of us, we don't do that shit.
Her and Yolanda Hadid.
First sentence of the disclaimer. This book does not provide medical advice.
Oh.
All information obtained from this book is to be taken solely as advisory in nature. The author does not dispense medical or other professional advice or prescribe the use of any technique as a form of diagnosis or treatment for any physical, emotional, or mental conditions. Informational purposes only.
And how accurate is the information? Not sure.
The author's intent is only to offer information of an anecdotal and general nature that may be part of your loved one's quest for emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual well-being. He assumes no direct responsibility for the direct or indirect consequences, losses, incidental, special, or consequential damages arising of or in any way connected with the use of any content in this book. He should not be held legally, personally, financially liable for any actions.
Wow.
Talk to your doctor. Am I reading this? Absolutely. And then I'm passing it to you. Genetics and heavy metals. I mean, you talk about a lot of this stuff.
So, you know what's interesting is my sister-in-law has Lyme's, and so does my nephew. And I believe, I don't know this for a fact, but I believe they think she passed it on to him in utero. And it's such a new disease, right? Like in the 80s, I think is when it was really discovered. And so they don't really know a whole lot of information, but they're pretty sure. But remember when he had the Tourette's and he was hallucinating and like all these things?
I know.
They believe that's what it was.
Late stage Lyme.
Yes. Yes.
That they never even knew he had because he was a baby, never got bit by a tick, but they think it was passed in utero. I know.
The other problem is that when ticks, if and when a tick bites you, they don't always exhibit the rash.
Right.
Which means if you don't catch it, now they claim I caught it in time to quote unquote heal some of the long-term effects. But I will always live with it. It's just, that's a thing. So,
and it is 100% fact that after you got bit by that tick, even though you caught it early, you got the bullseye rash, you got on the whatever the drugs, the hardcore drugs that you're supposed to get on for that.
I think I did 2 rounds.
2 rounds of it, right? Still to this day, your system has never, ever been the same.
No. And I still test positive for it.
Yep.
When I have blood work.
And I'm telling you, so all jokes aside, right?
I know.
I found this book and genuinely was like, oh my God, I really just need to read that. It was a little bit of the story that got a little hokey for me where I was like, she was like, basically, I had to leave her and now I have a new wife. I'm like, let's hope she doesn't get freaking Lyme's.
Right. But if you think about it, had I not caught that,
I know.
I wouldn't know what it was. And then you eventually get better. It just, it's really scary. And I got it in my swimming pool.
Right.
I'm convinced that's where I got it from because when there's nothing around. Like
I know.
I don't do nature.
So
I do have PTSD though. I really struggle with going into woods and things like that because it makes me very nervous.
It is a fear that I have. We were in Carter's pediatrician recently and there was a sign that said that he could participate in a Lyme vaccine study, and I like hit or miss on it, right? I don't love vaccine trials, especially for kids. But the other part of me is I'm scared to death of Lyme. I'm scared to death of ticks, and we live in all of that wooded area back there.
All you need is for June to bring one in.
I know.
That's all you need.
It is so
I found one on my pillow once. I don't have animals that go outside.
You found one on your pillow while you were getting treated for shingles.
And
we thought you had potentially gotten bit again.
I had to go in for a full body scan.
It was, I was beside myself. I'm like, and so one of our family friends, her son has Lyme's, and I also know someone I went to college with who has Lyme's. It has wreaked havoc, and they've gone to all of these specialists. We just don't know enough about it, but what it does to people is unreal. Well,
I think people think the precautions are don't go into high grass.
Right.
Don't go do, if you're going to go hiking on the woods, wear long sleeves, whatever, check yourself, whatever, right? Like, great. That's nice. But it didn't happen to me in that environment. It happened to me in a goddamn swimming pool in my backyard that is pretty open. I don't even have a tree.
I know.
So
I know.
where
I know.
did it come from?
I know.
I know.
So scary. But
I know.
But I've seen firsthand, your body has not been the same since then.
No.
Has not been the same. It was it's almost like your body sat dormant on this potential autoimmune, and then all of a sudden this tick came along and was like, hey there, autoimmune, let's be best friends, and boom.
What didn't help is I got COVID within 1 year.
Yeah.
And then I think that exacerbated a lot of it. I mean, going back to our cruise when I got super sick, right? We knew you were going to get super sick. You didn't have the same symptoms I did.
When I finally started to get sick when I was in the airport, which I think we're pretty positive was the flu at this point.
I am pretty sure it was not COVID because I tested.
I have not been that tired or unreal out of it since I had COVID. Because when I did have COVID, my primary symptom was pregnancy tired, right?
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, if I feel like this, I could still function minimally. I could walk through the airport. It was a lot. But I remember thinking, if I feel like this as a healthy person who is not immunocompromised, doesn't have autoimmune, whatever, I cannot imagine how much that it swept you out for a week.
At least. Well, when we were on the boat, I couldn't even get up to go to the bathroom. I was, it was not okay. And I was, it was not okay.
I know.
It was so bad. You had to pack my suitcase. It was really, really bad.
You were not interested in eating.
No.
All you wanted to do was sleep. You could barely get up to go to the bathroom.
Barely. Yeah. It was bad.
I know.
And it was just the joint pain. And that's why I couldn't get up, because the act of sitting up and then physically walking somewhere was so painful. It also didn't help that we were on a ship that didn't even have Tylenol or ibuprofen.
I know.
So granted,
we looked too, remember?
Yes. Now, if I had access to that kind of stuff, probably would have been able to get through it a little bit better. I mean, right? It takes the edge off, right?
A little. But
it was
you were incapacitated.
Yeah. And you ain't going to no infirmary, because if you got the vid, you're probably going to be quarantined to the Miami.
Yeah, they're leaving you. And,
so I'm like, we can't go there because we're screwed. So yeah, it was not good, dude.
I know.
Not good at all.
But it just gives me so much, talk about empathy. When I think about people with fibromyalgia, when I think about people with rheumatoid arthritis. Oh, what do you mean?
I think there's people out there that don't think that's real.
They think it's a mental health thing, not a physical body.
Or they're making it bigger than it is because you can't see it.
Yeah.
Right. Same with like arthritis.
Right.
I mean, arthritis
people could have said that about your flu incident as well.
Oh,
right.
True.
They could have been like, all right. So
now granted, we were on a cruise ship. I was coughing and sneezing post-COVID. People don't want to even be anywhere near that.
Yeah.
So,
But rheumatoid arthritis is a great example. Just this chronic pain that I think about. I have one friend whose father struggles with just such chronic pain that every single day he's in massive amounts of pain. I don't like when I am sick for 3 days.
I don't like being sick for 20 minutes.
I am like, nope, this isn't it. I'm just at my absolute. I remember recently Carter was sick both ends, and he was like, "When's it gonna stop?"
I know.
This
and you want to wave the wand,
worst, right? And all I can think is, that's one day. These are people who have to wake up every single day in chronic pain and still push through. And
how about people who are going through chemotherapy, which is basically you're poisoning the poison. You have to get sicker to get better. It's so sad.
I know.
So sad. And then imagine not having disability or not having insurance, and you got to suck it up and go to work and like live your life and be oh my God. It's so sad. So
it's
sad.
So
we
much.
take our health for granted.
Yeah, until we can't anymore because it's right there in our face, right?
So sad.
But anyway, this man wrote this.
Good. Can't wait for you to
this book report.
give me the,
and I'm going to dive
your version
into
of the
it,
report.
and I'm going to tell you what I think. I'm going to give you the book report on his book report.
I'm already prepared. Gluten-free. You've told me that forever.
I know. No more
Dairy-free
wine.
is pretty much.
No more wine.
I know.
Gluten-free. No more wine.
Yep.
Dairy-free.
Yep. But dairy-free, I'm okay with.
Yep.
I avoid that
Yep.
anyway.
Yeah.
That's talk about diarrhea.
Yep. I know. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Avoid.
Yeah, you want to lose some
avoid.
weight? Have yourself some ice cream.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, no. We don't eat ice cream. Everybody in my family knows. I'm like, can I have a scoop of ice cream? They're like, no.
Nope.
No, you may not.
No, thank you. Mark as well. We do not. No, thanks, Mark.
I don't know what it is.
He's like, could you get me some cheese curds at the store? Oh, they were out again. I don't know what happened there. Sorry, they always happen to be out when you want it. Oh, it's incredible. Well, anyway, that was basically my last week.
Yeah.
It was pretty intense, but I got you a little.
Did you fly back home on the day that it was all?
No, I had to drive back because we had the.
Thank God.
We had the car.
You would have been in the massive global outage because of Microsoft.
Yeah.
Oh my God, my internet, like the whole last week was all messed up.
I know.
All messed up.
I know. It's the beginning of the end. That's fine.
Holy crap. I'm like, I can't even, it was like 50% of Zoom would be working, but you couldn't hear anything. But then none of my Google Docs would open. And then now I have 5,000 alerts on my phone saying someone's hacked into your Microsoft. I'm like, what do you want? My Word documents?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Help yourself
Take
while
'em.
you're in there.
In fact, can you update them?
I know.
Go ahead.
While you're in there.
Take them all.
You know, do a couple things.
So I don't even know if they're real or I don't know. It's so weird.
know.
You know what it is?
What?
The election.
Yeah, that's right. Taking it all down. Taking it all down. That's right.
The hippie boo is the Four of Wands.
Okay.
Which is a little. I don't know if this is relevant. I don't think we've had this one.
A little turtle. That turtle looks
Look at
like
him.
he's just ready for
Do you see what's here?
some relaxation. What is that?
It's a
cell
blue
phone?
glass.
It's a blue glass.
It's a blue glass of water. Blue
Yeah.
glass of water right next to him.
Great. So just what he ordered. Yeah.
And it says, welcome to your personal spring where your endless slog through god-awful boring days is finally coming to an end. So roll out the champagne cannons and buy yourself a greeting card. This is the moment to celebrate all of your accomplishments and relish in the beauty of a happy, stable life. You've come through tough times, but you can rest easy for a while on your metaphysical patio furniture. Whatever it is, you did it. So congratulations, whoever you are, on whatever you've done, however you managed to do it. The cosmic rays are shining on you. The metaphors don't adhere to earthly schedules, so feel free to bask in the glow as long as you want. This is absolutely for you in your
Is it?
crazy week. So here's your affirmation. I love myself. I honor myself, and I celebrate myself. Now I pronounce me, myself, and self. I know you love these words.
Stupid. So stupid.
So, you had to go through the slime to get to the
beauty at the end.
beauty of your vacation
The
this
beauty
week.
of my not going blind.
Right. Congratulations on that, by the way. And congratulations on not having shingles.
I don't have shingles.
Throw away that shit right now.
I
Junk it.
do not have Lyme, but now I have a better way of supporting you
Thank you.
through Lyme.
Through all the things.
I have empathy for people who have
I know.
terrible conditions.
I know. It's awful.
And the last thing I will say before we end for today that I said to you and Scott last night, I think it's important to tell our listeners is that one of the victories that I think we can talk about is sometimes you decide that you want to move forward with something and you want to do something. And then when you get into that thing that you are doing, you realize this is a lot. And I don't know if this is the place that I'm at in my life right now where I can commit to this level. And so what I will say about this trip, when you have a very long time in the car with one of your best friends having these really great conversations, is that in the conversations, many of them that I was having with Renee, one of the things that came up was, as a strong empath, I always sort of follow what feels right or feels like it should be happening in that particular moment, whatever makes other people feel good, because that also will make me feel good. And then when I'm in it, I sometimes think to myself, I don't know if this is really making me feel good or if this is the thing that I want to do, right? Where I'm at in that particular journey. But is that okay? Is that something that I should continue or not continue? With no harm, no foul. Yeah, some weeks are harder than others, but I just do it. right? And one of the questions that Renee said to me is, as an empath, it's incredibly important that you ask yourself, where are you and what do you want and what ignites your soul? Because one of the trauma responses that empaths have is that we want so deeply to be seen and loved and cared about by so many other people that we will do anything to be seen and cared about and loved by other people. This is my long way of saying that one of the realizations that I had when I was in the car on the way home is that you, me, and Scott all ventured out into the subscription service, that I think we really enjoyed a lot of the stuff that we have been doing with the subscription service. And I also think it's safe to say, weigh in on this too, Scott, the subscription service is a lot of work. When you talk about the different categories of people, each category needs a different amount of things. You got to do a newsletter every single month that needs to be created and reviewed and then pushed out. And then an empathy deck that is being created. And then when it comes to a guest interview, no joke, I don't know how long it takes on your side, Scott, but it was taking me probably close to an hour and a half to review every single guest interview to figure out what's a highlight, where does it stop, where do other people get brought in.
Right. The easy part is coming in here and socializing.
Right.
That's
right.
Easy.
Absolutely.
We don't even plan
right.
this.
We just talked for 55 minutes about Lyme's disease and ex-wives. Right?
Right. That's the easy part.
And so when I listen to that card and when I think a little bit about the subscription service, what was really coming up for me was this feeling of, I love this podcast so much because all we do is come in and shoot the shit and talk about cool things. And yeah, could we tighten it up a little bit and have more of a cadence in what we're doing? Know what we're going to talk about? Absolutely. But for two people who just literally talked into a microphone for the first time 1 year ago and now have over 110 episodes of a podcast, we all right. You know, we're doing all right. But when it came time for the subscription, what I realized specifically for me at the end of the day was it wasn't bringing me the level of joy that the podcast brought me. It was bringing me more work and more
the subscription
feelings.
piece.
The subscription piece.
Okay.
It was bringing me more work or more feelings of like, I got to keep track of that. And what about this? And is this happening on this end? And did I do this? And did I do it right? And what did it say? And it just wasn't becoming as much fun for me as what we started all journeying in together. So to that end, I had written a text message to Scott and Rebecca last night and said, nothing that we've done here has been lost. We now have great tiered systems. We now know that when we get to a place in the podcast where, let's say we have 100,000 followers and we're like, yeah, you know, maybe people do want some extra content, or maybe we're in a place where we can dedicate more time and energy to just the podcast as opposed to 16 other jobs that, you know, you have on the side, and that I'm trying to work different things on my side and Scott and as many clients, that maybe we get to a point where we say, this doesn't feel like so much work. It actually just feels like an encompassing of us growing with the podcast, which is becoming a bigger part of our lives. And so I think you were both in agreement that what we are going to do from here forward is put the subscription service on hold. Some of you are going to be really happy about that because it means you don't have to worry about, am I on this subscription or that subscription? You're just going to get all of this awesome content for free again and sort of get back to the basics of why did we start this podcast? What do we want to share with the world? How do we put that content out there for people? And then how do we keep growing and learning along the way without the extra stress and extra steps associated with what does it mean to have a podcast? And then how do you essentially turn that podcast into a business? Maybe we just let it be for a little bit and let it ride.
Yeah. And how do I get Rebecca to stay in one spot so I can frame her
I mean,
in?
that is a full-time job, Scott. That's if we're being honest. How do we get Rebecca to just be framed in?
Screen, and she's just on the bottom left-hand corner.
Look how little she looks right now,
today,
too.
So
She's
you know
just
what's
little
funny?
mini.
Today I'm not wearing my high shoes. I'm wearing my flat shoes, and I can't touch the ground.
Is
so
your
I had
seat
to lower.
all the way up?
No, I can't. I had to
do
lower.
we need to figure out a better seat for you? We can do that.
Really?
Yeah, it's one of the ones from the little kid shows that is like really, really, really tall, and then she looks like this little mini person on the chair.
I need a stool on the bottom.
Yeah.
All right. We'll figure something out.
Hilarious.
We'll figure something
Next
out.
time I'm going to be. Are we clear? No matter what you do, it's not going to matter.
I know.
We can hang like a really, like from the ceiling, like a hammock.
Oh
type of
yeah.
thing. You can dangle.
Then I'll be rocking.
No, that's exactly what her
Swinging
ADD
back and
needs. She'll
forth.
just rock back and forth the entire time.
I can't sit still, guys. It's not my forte.
It's fine.
So bottom line, podcast is continuing. We're still coming in and doing our episodes. We're still pushing content out to you all. We'll still have some occasional random, ridiculous videos that we will do, but we are...
Join our Facebook page.
Yeah,
our Facebook page is active.
Yeah, Facebook page has about 100, if not a little bit more people in it right now, which is great. And that between that and we also have an Instagram where a lot of like our highlight video clips are.
Oh, yeah.
So between that, our Facebook page, and then just our YouTube channel and pushing stuff out on all of the different podcast channels, that's what we're going to be focusing on for the next whoever knows how long. And then what will be, will be. And I think the goal, the message here is set out to do something. And then if you decide that it's just not it, or you're just not feeling it, or it's just changing the course of something that you really love to do, it's okay to say, let's just not do that right now.
That's right.
And we can figure it out in the end if we want to.
One thing I figured out is that we, first of all, if we had, like you said, 100,000 followers and people were jumping on the subscription thing, it would be a different kind of thing because we'd be revitalized. We'd be like, this is awesome. People are loving this. Let's keep doing it.
Yeah.
Right now it's like, hey, how'd that video go over? I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone cared or anyone watched it or whatever.
Yeah. Or
Right.
what Renee said was, I'm your number one fan. I've not been able to open the newsletter to read it because I've just been so busy.
Yeah.
She's like, if I'm not reading the newsletter,
Then
I'm your number one fan. I promise you, I
a good
am
point.
all up in what you guys are doing. But here's the other thing.
That's a
It's
really
not
good
because
point.
we don't have the number of listeners. It's because we don't have a promotion strategy. There's not, we're not pushing it. This is all organic. We've grown to almost 5,000 people organically just by being who we are and pushing that out there. Imagine if we had someone who said, I'd love to do some promotion work for you.
Right.
We'll take that. You'll take you up on that all day. Right. But just the amount of time and effort and energy. And I listened to some of these other podcasts. And one of the ones we were blaring at 4:00 in the morning because we were trying to stay awake.
Blaring/critiquing.
Well, I was critiquing
I
it
bet
because
you
I
were.
was listening to it and I thought, y'all have almost 1 million listeners.
And it's not that good. It
It ain't it, sis. Tell you
know.
that.
I know.
It
It's
ain't
so-
it. Congratulations. I'm not going to down on your podcast.
I know,
but
like, good for you. I mean, clearly you're doing something right. But I know there's something about certain podcasts that I just can't. I don't know what it is.
A lot of them, it was the timing. It was when they came out. It was something that happened that just happened to click at the right time.
That's a good point too.
And you get used to listening to it and they're your people and it might not be the best one ever,
Yeah.
but that's just what you happen to pick up at the time because someone told you about it and it just happened to, like organic with us.
Yeah.
The right people picked up on it or whatever, or one person shared it and that was it.
Yeah.
And that's all it really takes with this
That's
kind of
right.
thing.
That's right.
True.
But we do have with this test run of the Supercast thing, we have figured out that we can do it.
That's right.
Well, and it's built.
That's right.
It's built.
It's
and,
built
and the
and we
stuff
can
that we're putting
always-
out's really good.
Yeah.
That's
and
right.
we can always pick it back up.
That's right.
We're not
So-
deleting it.
That's what I mean about nothing is lost.
No.
We have the subscriptions. We know some tweaks that we would do. We have the content. We now have the schedule. We have a content calendar
Right.
about when you're supposed to push out what, right?
Right.
It can be picked up at any moment.
That's right.
The reality is, I don't want to come to the podcast and feel that the podcast is more work than it is fun when it's
Right.
the one thing that is bringing me
Right.
some really exciting joy to
Right.
just come in and do it.
Right.
And I was starting to feel that way. I was starting to feel like it was work and it was bogging me down. And I was like, oh my gosh, I got to do this and I got to do that. And
Well, especially when your to-do list is becoming larger and larger and larger.
Right.
Plus, we're at a point, I mean, this is summer, right? Like we don't have that cadence of the kids being in school. We have more things going on. My day is extra jam-packed now because you got to get the kid here, one kid there, summer camp, birthday parties. I mean, this is the time everybody shoves it all in. Oh, and then guess what? Vacations are coming up, which means, okay, now we're offline for another 10 days.
Right.
And now we're behind. And no, I'm not going to work on vacation. I know I should. Like, it's
Right.
just, it's a lot.
Right.
It's a lot.
But what a beautiful gift, I think, to give to people to say, you can put something out in the universe and tell people that you're going to do it. And then you can do it. And then you can decide this isn't the right time to do it because it just doesn't feel like where we want to be.
Yeah.
And then pull that back and do something different.
Yep.
And if this podcast ultimately is, all right, well, we're doing all of these different sessions during the week, and then we have a week or two where we're not producing, a podcast, what a nice little reminder that balance matters.
Right.
And that what happens outside of life is equally, if not more important than what all of this looks like. Right. It was a little reset for me that I felt really good about being able to step into my empathy and say, I love this so much. And I, in fact, love it so much that I don't want it to become another job.
Yeah.
I don't want it to become something that I then grow to be like, did this happen? Did we do this yet? Has this been posted? What about this? I got to hurry up and do this.
When passion turns into a job, it's no good.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's just keep it as a passion a little bit longer and enjoy it. And
just so you know, it is a job for me. It kind of is my job.
Kind of
But it's a
SOL
fun
for you.
job. It's a fun job.
Yeah.
And it's actually nice to do stuff and get paid for it. So, like that whole all the subscription stuff is really it's an investment of all of us.
Right. And there's also something to be said about, and this happens in every early stage startup, when you go from 0 to 100 really quickly because the ideas are there and the momentum is there and the passion is there. And then you realize after you've hit this wall where you were like, holy cow, I'm legit running a whole nother business on top of a business on top of, right? And I know that's true for you, Scott, because you're already running a business. And now you're like, here's a mini business inside of my business that's taking up, a
lot.
And so I think what we did really well, the three of us, is that we constantly communicated through it and gave each other the benefit of the doubt, right? So if we were just like, oh, well, I don't know why this is not getting done, we were like, hey, this isn't getting done and why, right? We certainly got frustrated with each other at certain points, but how many times would I sit here?
I got frustrated with you guys.
Stop it. Stop it.
I don't recall getting frustrated with you.
Stop it.
Seriously, I've never gotten frustrated with you guys.
I just misread your frustration because when you get frustrated when your camera doesn't work, then I'm assuming that's me.
Objects.
Correct.
Yes.
And because I'm so empathic, I'm like, oh, Scott's mad at me again.
No, I'm not.
Or I'm like, you know what? He's mad at you, Rebecca, because you can handle it. I can't.
It's okay. It's okay.
I've never been even remotely perturbed at either one of you ever.
Oh, well, that's nice.
But yeah, nice little reminder for everyone out there. It's okay to jump head first into something and say that you want to do it, then decide it's not for you, and then decide, we're going to put that on hold for a little while.
You know what we're going to do? Pause. We're going to pause.
Everyone's
take a little pause. We're going to pause.
We're going to pause.
Yeah.
We're going to pause the subscription service. We're going to pause. You still got it, Scott.
It's sitting
I love
on my desk waiting.
We're still pausing. We're still pausing. And I will read you today's affirmation card as a closing note. I know that I do not need to wait for 5 p.m. on Friday to be happy. I am happy right damn now.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
Have a good day.
I loved that.
Me too. Isn't empathy amazing?
Well, we're amazing. I don't know about all this empathy stuff.
That's fine. I accept you wherever you are.
Oh, God.
I love you.
I love you too.
And if you love us, please like and subscribe to More Love, the Power of Empathy podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
See you next time.